Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner, and I'm very pleased and honored to have with me today as my guest, Kristy O'Neill, Foster Parent of the Year. Welcome, Kristy.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you here today, and congratulations on being named the Foster Parent of the Year for Frederick County.
Thank you.
So, how long have you been involved in serving as a foster parent?
So I've been a foster parent a little over 2 years, so not that long.
So, and what do you think makes it a rewarding experience?
You know, you really get a chance to see kids' lives change, but what's even more rewarding is sometimes you get to see families change. I'm a big believer in reunification. Most kids, our goal is to have them go back to their parents so their parents can get healthy, and when you can see that happen, it's a really beautiful thing.
Yes. Well, it's a wonderful thing that you'll spend your time and energy to make a difference for children who need somebody during some time period of their life. Mm-hmm. So, what made you decide to give it a try?
I think foster parenting has always been something I would want to do. I mean, I have space in my home. I have extra love to give. I've grew up in a very stable home. I've been well loved my life, and I think that I can give some of that back. So.
Well, that's wonderful. So now I know you've also become quickly involved in the Frederick County Foster Parent Association, and you're actually the president.
I am, yes.
And so what can you tell us about the association?
So our goal with the association is just to support other foster parents. It can be really tough. It's a difficult path to walk, and so we do things like we set up meals when foster parents get new placements. We have a bunch of people who will provide meals to kind of ease that transition, or we have a closet that provides clothing, so when you get a new placement who doesn't come with anything, you can get the gear that you need and the clothes that you need, and we just try and provide a support network for each other. We do training, sometimes we do outings for kids. We take them to Hershey Park, things that they might not otherwise get to do, so things like that.
So how many children have you fostered?
So I have 10 total.
In 2 years you've fostered
2 years.
10 years.
Yes.
And what's the age range?
The youngest I took was 2 days old when he came to me, and the oldest was 13. So I take a pretty broad range.
Have you ever had siblings?
I do, yes. I've more than once I've had sibling groups, and they can be difficult to place just because it's difficult to find a home that has space for more than one kid. And so I've taken several sets of sibling groups.
Now, one of the things people always say is that they would love to take the children in. Mm-hmm. They'd be very attached to them, and they would find it difficult to have them go. Now, of course, you've already said that you believe in family reunification mm-hmm. and the benefit of that, and you know that you're a temporary path of stability for these children. So can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, it is a very difficult thing. I don't want to minimize it and say that it's easy. It is difficult. But really, if you understand your role at the very beginning is to be that temporary home, and in some cases even to mentor their parents. I've gotten a chance to do that a little bit, which can be really neat to see them grow into being the parents that they need to be for their kids. And you know, the way I look at it is, you know, I'm an adult, I'm emotionally stable, and this is what these kids need. They need me to love them like they're mine for as long as they're with me. And if that means that my heart gets broken in the end, then that's okay. For me, I've also been fortunate that most of the kids who've been placed with me, I've stayed in contact with their families, whether they've gone on to their parents or other family members through different avenues. So I get to see how well they're doing. So that actually helps too.
That does help, so that you kind of still have that long-term connection, and you know that everything is okay and everything's good with them.
Yes.
So do any of these children, when they come to you, have a difficult time adjusting, and you have to try to make sure that they're comfortable in that transition and why they're there?
Absolutely. It's difficult for them. I mean, they love their parents. In most cases, kids don't understand the reason that they've been removed. They might think it's their fault, or they just may not understand the reasons behind them. A lot of the reasons are very adult reasons that they just can't quite process. So it's tricky for them. And it's just a difficult adjustment all the way around. I mean, you're adding someone with schedules to your family, so you suddenly have another teacher to worry about and more doctor's appointments, and it's quite a transition. I usually say about after the first month is when I finally feel like I'm in a little bit more of a stable place and come out of the chaos. So.
Well, and I'm sure that's true for the child too, because they're in a new place and they're trying to check you out and figure out what you're going to be like. And so, you know, it's a transition for the children as well as the foster parents.
Absolutely. And there's new rules in every home. You know, what's okay with their parents or wherever they came from is different from the rules that I might have. And so trying to learn how to navigate those can be, you know, can be tricky for a while, but you just power through.
Well, that's great. It's wonderful that you've chosen to do this, and I think it's equally wonderful that you've decided to take a leadership role in that support network for foster families and foster parents in Frederick County. Can you tell me how many foster parents there are?
I think that there are around 50 families that take children. I think I'm not entirely sure of the statistics, but I think there are around 50 foster families in the county.
Okay, so this is something you plan to continue
yes.
doing?
Oh, yes.
I want to continue doing this in the long run?
Yes, until my home is full, and even then, maybe even after that.
So have you taken multiple kids that are unrelated to each other at the same time?
I have, actually. Right now, I have a sibling group, and then I have an individual, a baby, that are unrelated. I think the most I had was 3 unrelated kids at the same time. That was a little bit, or maybe 4. So that was a little bit crazy, a little bit different. Just because, you know, then you're dealing with 3 different sets of families, potentially 3 different social workers, 3 different cases. It's a little bit more difficult.
Sounds like a real challenge.
It is.
So that has to be one of the biggest challenges, is to have an ever-changing environment in your household.
It is. That's one of the things we joke about in my family, is when we are planning like a family dinner or something and they ask me how many kids I'm going to have with me, that it may change at the last minute. We never know.
You'll say you're RSVP for this many, and it may be another one.
Exactly, or less if they go home or they're on a visit, or there's so many other things. So we take our best guess, and they all have to learn to be flexible too. So.
Now, I heard before we started that you had some good news to share. Do you want to share it?
Sure. I soon am going to be adopting my first child. So
very exciting.
That's very exciting. Can't wait for that.
Well, congratulations. That's very exciting. I think that's very exciting for you, for your family, and for the child. So you'll have somebody who stays with you permanently.
Yes, he'll be stuck.
He'll be stuck all the way through adulthood forever.
Yes.
So once a mom, always a mom.
Right.
So anything else you would like to share with our viewers about the experience of being a foster parent, and how somebody can find out about it?
I would say being a foster parent is hands down the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It's the hardest, but it's the most rewarding thing. And I would just encourage anybody who's thinking about it or interested, that there's a lot of ways that you can find out more information without making a commitment. So you can kind of test the waters and see what it's like. The Department of Social Services has an information meeting the first Wednesday of every month, and so you can go to that and talk to the department trainer. You can talk to other foster parents and just kind of check it out and see if it's for you.
So you can check it out long before you make a commitment to do something.
Exactly.
So, well, thank you for joining me today. I really want to congratulate you as being the Foster Parent of the Year in Frederick County. I want to thank you for helping to make stable, strong families in Frederick County, because that's what it's all about. I mean, you said you came from a stable family. I came from a stable family. I always say I can do this job because I always know that my parents will always support me no matter what, for good or bad. And I think that does provide long-term strength and capability in life. So I really want to thank you and all the other foster parents in our community for what they do to help our children who may just need a little bit of help or may need a lot of help to make sure they have that stability in their lives.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us. If you're interested in becoming a foster parent or just finding out more about it, you can contact the Department of Social Services, and you can go to their monthly meeting and find out if it's something you might want to pursue. And thanks. If you see Kristy O'Neill, congratulate her on being the Foster Parent of the Year in Frederick County.